You know, for a lot of New Mexicans, prescribed burns may stir up bad memories, anxiety. I mean, they led to the largest and most destructive wildfire in our state's history last year. So it's understandable if people get nervous hearing one national forest is planning those prescribed burns this winter. Tamara Lopez is here because, Tamara, you spoke with a fire official today about how things have changed last year. There was loud calls for changes to come. So what did he have to say?
Yeah, well, today, Tessa, the official from the Santa Fe National Forest says the biggest takeaway was that fire is just part of New Mexico's ecology, I should say, whether that's prescribed, natural, or controlled burn. But he says after last year, the Santa Fe National Forest officials' goal with prescribed burns is really to help control the outcome of all of those fires.
It really is. It's fuel reduction via live trees or dead and down vegetation.
Dennis Carroll with the Santa Fe National Forest says that's the simplest explanation for what pile burns are. He's the fuels program manager for the forest and plans prescribed burns like the pile burns on the schedule this winter. Carroll says they look at several factors during planning, like weather patterns and what's nearby.
And it's just not the vegetation or fire behavior that we expect when we implement a particular burn, but it's also some of the socio-political concerns, locations of values at risk. Maybe it's an endangered species. Maybe it's a historic pueblo.
Right now, the Santa Fe National Forest is planning winter pile burns around the Espanola Ranger District and a few others. Carroll says he knows the public may be weary about the news after last year when the two dormant pile burns started the Calf Canyon and the Cerro Pelado fires.
What got us to what happened last year was not looking at the back end of this, because with both the Cerro Pelado pile burn escape and the Calf Canyon pile escape, these were things that we called holdovers, that they didn't cause us problems or they didn't show themselves until literally months after the actual pile burn took place.
Now, pile burns are planned around things like how much snowfall there is and how long it'll be there. Carroll says the Forest Service as a whole has learned a lot after last year.
One of the more critical things we're looking at is utilizing technology to be able to help us to document and call it out through infrared uses, right? Whether it's handheld devices or whether it's through drones.
He says the biggest lesson was not monitoring the pile burns as closely after the fact, but says despite the risk, prescribed burns are critical to keeping a balanced ecosystem.
Learn from our mistakes, incorporate them into our new planning process to move forward and to keep managing fire, because we're not going to get away from it in the West.
So these pile burns, of course, are also meant to burn away any hazardous fuel that could be hanging around for that fire season in the spring when things are a little bit more dry. And Carroll says that crews are out right now scouting the conditions to check the snow levels, check everything out to see if it meets those new stricter requirements for these pile burns. And if it doesn't meet the restrictions, those pile burns will not happen. A
lot of New Mexicans just hoping they're much more vigilant going into future fires. All right, Tamara, thanks for the update.